If you want to have freedom, don't build an online business.
Episode number 10 of The Secrets. We are talking about the online business, and does it really give you freedom? Because I think, for background context, a lot of the times within the industry, it is...
Yeah.
Why are you laughing? It's the truth. It gets marketed, right? It gets marketed that the laptop life is the life to have. And
The laptop life.
Sitting in front of the beach, sipping your margarita, doing your thing, and you are free.
Let me Google laptop lifestyle. This is the picture that you'll get. Let me show them the picture that you'll get when I Google laptop lifestyle. You guys ready? So freedom, this is what everyone seems to want to have. This is freedom, or this? Is it all of this, guys? And
I would even say that living the laptop lifestyle, excuse me, I can't talk, with minimal things on your desk. Is that real? Is that real?
Yeah, are you talking about me? So my answer is fuck no. And I'm going to go straight into this one. I'm going to dive in head first and really begin with getting to the core of it. If you want to have freedom, don't build an online business. And here's the thing. Like, there are a few pros and there are a few cons. The pros of an online business is that you get to reach more people. You have an uncapped ability to grow and market because the marketplace is bigger. You can do a lot more things. You're location free, but true freedom, no. True freedom comes when you're able to build repeatable processes and systems and then delegate that to people. That's kind of been, that's really the backbone of my journey. And I want to go back, because I want to go back to 2014. I think after I had just launched a 28-day challenge, sold it out. It was actually a 30-day challenge. Sold it out. I think I had about 60 guys pay. I was so fucking excited for this. I had about 60 guys pay me money through Infusionsoft. This was all automated email marketing. And guys, like, it was crazy because for the very first time I had cracked the code. I didn't have to sell these people through the phone. I learned how to sell through a launch sequence, an email sequence, countdowns. You see them every single day. Somebody runs a webinar, somebody runs a launch, they deliver you value, and then they bombard you with about 10 emails. Anyway, I had just cracked the code. And Keri and I, we were in Sydney, and I'll go back to even the Bali time, but we were in Sydney, and we're staying at the Meriton. And how I remember is the Meriton, you walk in and it's just got this fresh, clean smell. And these are newer associations. And I remember going into the Meriton, and my day was just every day looking at my email, logging into Infusionsoft, wondering how many people went through the sequences, looking at my email open rates, fucking being a nerd. What were we in Sydney for? Were we like visiting Kim? Were we going on a holiday? Visiting my sister?
Yeah, I think it was a family trip. I remember it.
It was a family trip. It was a family trip. That's right. So my sisters were up there, and basically me and Keri get into a big fight. Like, this was at the start of our relationship. We fought like so much, but we got into a big fight, and the fight was revolving around me being so immersed in this. Get off your phone, get the fuck off your laptop. Why are you here? And, why can't you just enjoy this? Why can't you actually just be present? Why can't you go for a walk with me around the back of, what was that park that you had? What was that amazing park?
It was the Sydney Botanical Gardens.
It was the Sydney Botanical Gardens. And basically, but
I basically remember these particular times of the trip, which was that every time, especially with this pressure of, mind you, we'd only been dating for a few months. So the pressure of your whole family being there and we were away on a trip with them, that that importance of being present with your family was so important to me, right? And all that I remember was that you were stuck to your phone, and every time you made a sale, which I now understand, you were like, "Oh my gosh, honey, someone just paid me," and I was like, "I don't freaking care. We're we're spending time having lunch with your family."
you do not give a fuck. I'm
Did,
actually trying to find the
yeah,
photo right now. I'm trying to find out. I don't know if you deleted the photo. Did you like delete the photo? The photo where you were really sad, where you were saying hello, Sydney.
of course not. I remember I was independently walking through Sydney Botanical
Find
Gardens.
this photo. Thank you for having a photo of Jacqueline right here. I still can't find this botanical photo, but I remember so we ended up having this bit of a fight, which there were a lot of at the start because of alignment issues. And I'm here making sales. Like, guys, for any of the online coaches that are watching this or listening to this, you guys will know the feeling. If you don't, well, this is what it feels like. It feels like you're opening your Stripe, money's coming in, but you actually haven't done anything. Like, you literally haven't done anything. People are buying because of an email. And so you're making money for the very first time. 2015, I cracked the code and I'm about to sell. That was in Sydney. It was actually 120 or 130 people through an email. And I'm just here going, oh my God. Oh my fucking God, I figured it out. I like, this is it. This is the game. And I'm telling Keri's like, get away from me, you loser. You're just this internet nerd. I'm going to go to nature. And she goes off wandering to nature. Then she takes
Okay, I did not think you were an internet nerd. I just want to make it very, very clear because the audience is going to think I am a bitch. I just wanted to enjoy the moment. And from my perspective of what happens when you're always so focused amongst the internet, there is omnipresence, and there is an omnipresence in your brain where you aren't able to switch off,
for sure.
right?
For sure.
Even
Yeah.
at the description of what you said to me, when you woke up at 5 this morning, the reason why you didn't feel sleepy was because you turned on your phone, you went on Facebook, you got bloody triggered, and that's what woke
Triggered.
you up.
I got triggered. The fastest way to wake up, guys, is to get triggered. That's what I realized this morning. I've been trying to get up earlier. Anyway, regardless of that, I want to go back. So this is the whole point about freedom. And here's where it gets dangerous, because the transition between me working the gym in 2014 to stepping out and running an online business it took a long time to actually transition, because it was a life transition as well as a business transition. Uh, Everybody around me thought that I had this great, amazing life where I could just work anywhere and I was supposed to figure it out. I didn't know what the fuck was happening, because when you're going online and you feel like you have no oxygen, I'm trying to fucking breathe. Like, making money to a business is oxygen. So I'm here trying to breathe. And then I figure out that there's this huge oxygen tank coming, and it's crazy because for the very first moment in time, shit's happening. And it sucks because I remember that moment to being one of the greatest moments where I just cracked the code, but I had nobody to celebrate it with. Because now I didn't even want to talk to you about business. I was just like, I'm not going to talk to her about business because I don't know if she's going to get pissed off that I figured it out and now I'm going to do more business shit, or like she doesn't care. So I'm telling you about this thing, and then we're not talking to each other in the hotel. And then I'm just like, can we make up now? Because this is really cool. Long story short, there are many instances that if you're starting out and if you haven't figured out the game and if you don't have oxygen, you're fucked. Because if you're trying to go online right now and you're figuring out the game, then you are literally a person running a marathon, but you can't breathe. You have no air. And it feels like you're suffocating. It feels like you're dying and nobody understands you. And I think there are a few key incidents that we had in Bali, we had in Vietnam, where I was hustling, where I was grinding, where I had no oxygen and I couldn't even appreciate the good shit around me. And to say that running an online business is going to give you freedom is so foolish, because in fact, initially when you start out, you have less freedom because your whole world's confined to this, to making it work. You only begin to get freedom. Um, and now, just simply like this morning, taking time off, being able to travel, and we're heading over to San Fran next month for our event, and we're going to go to Yosemite, and I promised Keri we're going to do some hiking. Being able to do shit like that is almost like taking this leash and unraveling it, but you have to actually plan and anticipate. Now, for me, planning and anticipating wasn't my skill, because in 2013, I would message clients on Sunday night telling them that, hey, they were going to train with me at 5 a.m. Monday morning. You know, that was my planning. And so I'd never had foresight for this. And I know a lot of trainers and coaches don't. And this is where it fucks you up, because, you know, you can take all the nice photos being free, but I guarantee you, in fact, 99.999% of coaches and trainers are more stuck in their business than if they had a 9 to 5 job where they could switch the fuck off, go home, chill the fuck out, have a weekend, have brunch, go shopping, no repercussions, and then get back to their job. Most people lose freedom going into an online business.
I know I've said this before in previous episodes, but coming from the corporate world, and there is this enigma of the unknown with this laptop lifestyle that is marketed, I had a sense that I may have just escaped prison away from 9 to 5. And you know where I'm going. And when I began working full-time with you, for a while, I was trying to figure myself out. But once I did figure myself out, I said to you very, very distinctively that there is less freedom running your own business than there is 9 to 5. Way less.
100%.
If we're talking about freedom as in you get to switch off, you stop thinking about work completely, you stop aging your wrinkles and stop the stress. That is the 9 to 5 lifestyle. In fact, I'm sure back in the day, decades ago, they might have marketed the 9 to 5 lifestyle as being the lifestyle.
I'm just going to go back, and we looked at this the other day, and we're just like, shit, we were talking about age, and I'm like, holy fuck, I've aged so much in the last how many years? Like the last 4 years. Like, and I'm going to go and I look back at my photos on Facebook and I go, holy shit, like I've aged, I look old, and this is an age and an accumulation of stress. So if I go back to like my days as a PT in the gym, like, look, I look skinny. I'm just going to go back and find this photo because I look so young. I look so innocent. I look like I'm about to just look at this guy. Like, he just looks so young. He looks so innocent. I've got such a baby face, and this was like, what, 5 years ago? And now you see the wrinkles. And I want to make a point to that. So most people leave this to chase freedom only to get more stuck. And they get stuck because now you're playing in this world where you have no discipline, but taking time off, the biggest thing is feeling this sense of guilt. So you'll try to take time off with your family, your friends, but because you can't breathe, you don't want to be there with them. You can't even think about that because you're just trying to survive. And the first thing, if you want to have freedom, is to create discipline and have boundaries. Like this fucking took me ages to learn. Like to have discipline and to have boundaries. And this is something that we still practice every day, Keri. It's like we were just at the hot springs. I'm on Slack, and then Keri's like, yo, the fuck are you doing on Slack? Get off. And it's just constant reminders. And then we just have to create these boundaries again, because discipline gives you freedom. As Keri, your favorite man, Jocko, will say, right? And so there's this gap. So there's a transition. You're in the gym or you're in a corporate job, and then you want to go completely online. And here's the same thing. If you want freedom, it doesn't matter if your business is online or offline. It's simply being able to recreate processes, bring somebody in, take over those processes, and then keep them accountable to manage them on delivering those outcomes. Now, it doesn't matter if you're in a cafe, it doesn't matter if you have a gym, it doesn't matter if you have an online business, it's all the same. The thing about an online business gives you more flexibility. But with more flexibility, without restraints, guess what happens? Well, at the gym, when the gym closes, at least you don't feel guilty. But the online world, time's always ticking. I should be up earlier. I should be down. You don't have holidays. Say fucking goodbye to your holidays. In the gym, Christmas is kind of cool because you kind of go, well, everyone doesn't work, so I don't have to work, and nobody's expecting me to be there. Online, your online clients, they'll be expecting a message on fucking Christmas. Don't you worry about that if you do not set the perimeters right. So there's this jump, and because the only way I've learned how to get freedom is to produce revenue, oxygen, so that you can hire people and build people in to replace the things that you're doing, such that you can step out for a week and not have everything crumble.
Yeah, and I think your perspective is really spot on, especially for someone who is a PT at the moment and who is completely booked, someone who's a gym owner who feels stuck in their gym from the time that it opens to the time that it closes. And unfortunately, there are many 24/7 gyms.
Which is crazy, because then we start to see, like, holy shit, like at our gym at Fitness First Richmond, we're there Sunday night, 8 p.m., and there's still this Asian trainer that's just fucking training a client. I'm like, holy shit, she's a hustler, right? But she's just so tired and so worn and just like, she doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, and I think that if you could take the knowledge of what you have now with the discipline and the systems that you've created out of your online back to 4 years ago, the very key difference from between what you had before and what you've learned that you now teach others is having the discipline to go hard at the times that you work.
Yeah.
And then know when to switch off.
Mm-hmm.
And then putting that boundary with your client.
Yeah. Correct. Here's the reality. I want to take a step back and then I'll dive into the online world. Most people are trying to escape from their thing to jump into the online world, thinking that it's going to give them this other thing, but it doesn't. In fact, the online world just dissolves the perimeters and the boundaries for which business is done. Business in a gym is done from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Business in the online world suddenly is done 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. That's all. So first and foremost, someone's looking for freedom. Like, here's your way out. Do what you're currently doing. If you're making money, do more of it, right? Max it out. Like, and here's the other kicker. Oh, my nose gets itchy. Most people think that jumping online is this new opportunity, but because they suck in the gym, they think going online is going to be better. And it's like, no, wait a second. You're starting again from scratch. Whereas at least if you're in the gym, if you're already making money, it means you already know how to make money. So go and do more of it. Like, if you've got 10 clients, go out there and get 20, and then get 25, and then 40, and then 50, and then 60, and then 70. And then go, right, this isn't working anymore and I can't grow. How do I get back my time? And you ask this question, how do I solve this problem that I have? Well, how do I keep $4,000 a week, right? But how do I pull back and work 20? And then it becomes leverage. It becomes hybrid. It becomes changing up your business model. And this is a conversation I had with a good buddy of mine at QV, where I used to train Hua, because he's doing 80 sessions a week. And, you know, the initial shiny object is, dude, I want to be free. Should I go online? Right? The initial thing, he's doing 80 sessions a week, making really good money, and he wants to go online. I'm like, bro, like, no, you go online, you got to start from scratch. So you have to figure out a way in order to max out that revenue and buy back and get back your time. So I said, look, number one, you're going to double your prices. Okay. That's going to ensure that 70% of people drop off. And number two, you're going to create a leverage program, a hybrid system where you can coach people 3, 4 times, 5 times a week, open up semi-private classes, give people online coaching with a training app, with a nutrition, with a whole forum, so they get support in there. And then ultimately, double your prices and then build a product that's going to funnel them all in. That way, we were able to maximize his revenue, keep it, if not make a little bit more, but then also get back 40 hours of his week. And so I think that's the first lesson. And really, if you want freedom, here's a key thing, Keri. I'm going to say this, and I don't know if a lot of people will like it. Money will buy you freedom. Money will buy you freedom.
I agree and disagree. And my perspective on freedom is that I think all that we're seeking is freedom of the mind. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is you can make as much money as you want. Mm-hmm. And I know that there was a point where you, even yourself, was making a lot of money, and I would even love to go into that as well. But you weren't free. Mm-hmm. And I know the reason why you talk about systems and leverage is because that's what helped you remove that. But it also, what it was it removed all of the triggers, and it removed all of that stress that happens in your brain, your monkey brain, when you got discipline. Yeah. And I think the reality is that the person or the PT who wants freedom by going online is the right candidate when they themselves know how to discipline themselves throughout the day. Yep. Versus the PT who was Lynn, who messages their clients at 10 p.m. on a Sunday evening for a 5 a.m. session on a Monday morning.
That's every other PT. Let's be real now. Let's be real, guys.
And for that PT, online isn't going to set you free because you haven't set yourself free.
Yeah. I agree. And I agree with you where you agree and disagree. Money will buy you freedom because money will allow you to buy people to replace you. But if you want true freedom, then there's the internal freedom, which is what happens in here, whether or not you're a crazy mofo like me and you've got a lot of work to go through and you've got a lot of just calming and pacing and just having that discipline because you've got ideas coming out of your brain every 5 seconds. That's going to take the money won't save you from that kind of freedom. That's a different story. So here's the situation. Freedom. And we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to keep this nice and sharp today. Freedom comes from external freedom. Your freedom comes from producing revenue to then create the processes and the systems and then delegate that. It doesn't matter if you're online, it doesn't matter if you're offline. First and foremost, you need revenue. Don't expect to be free if you don't have any money because you can't hire people. So you need to figure out the game first. And then this goes back to our previous episodes in terms of, well, what result do you own? What are you known for? Are you really better? How do you market? All of that jazz, right? That's the first bit. And I just want to conclude there. This can then enter this rabbit hole. But, if you don't make this happen, like here are the consequences. And here it is. I'm going to lay it out straight. The consequences are this: if you do not produce revenue and you are not breathing oxygen inside of your business, you will have a shitty life and you will fuck up everything around you. Your relationships, family, friends, people, because you're dying and they don't know that you're dying. You feel that you're dying. You can't even articulate it and they don't know what the fuck's wrong with you. And there's one thing that you need to do. You need to produce. Like you have to produce because you are seeking. Otherwise, go back to a job, right? You've got two choices. Stick in a job. There's nothing wrong with a job, but you and I both know, and Keri, you're not going to get as fulfilled as you could be. And if that's the life that you want to live, props to you. Fucking amazing. For me, it was like, well, shit, like, nah, I gotta have more. And so this is the problem. And this is the choice that I chose. Which means this: if I do not figure out the revenue game, I am fucked. And you are fucked. And And your wife, now I look back at it, I'm like, Keri, you had every right to get pissed at me. I had no right. I chose this game. You know, had I just been a physiotherapist, as a PT, I would have fucking enjoyed Sydney with you. We would have been having an amazing time. We would have fucking enjoyed all of our trips. So that was on me.
I think the reality is that we could have still enjoyed Sydney. You know, that discipline around when to switch on, when to switch off. And I also want to make note, Lourdes, like we didn't actually mention these words, but exactly, it's leverage. Lynn now has leverage.
It's leverage, motherfuckers. And but you can only get leverage from revenue. You can't get leverage from air. And you can only produce revenue if you have a product that solves a problem and you're the number one person or the number one expert. That's the fastest way to produce revenue. And so it stems back from the conversations that we've had. And really, here's the big kicker. If you're looking for freedom, don't jump online. Don't jump online. And if you do decide to jump online because you want freedom of location, well, then produce revenue. Okay? Produce revenue and then get leverage, create processes, and then find people. The fastest way to produce freedom is to do what you're currently doing, exponentially get good at that, increase that, drive the revenue, and then replace yourself out of that. Now, if you're in the gym, go do that. If you're a PT that's working and running boot camps, go do that. To be foolish enough to leave what you're doing, because you've actually gotten some traction in what you're doing, to start again from scratch, to then have to figure it out again, how to make money, and then produce processes and people, that's just almost going backwards. And so I think a lot of people jump in the online game for the wrong reasons. They jump in because they think that they're going to fit them, and boy, are they surprised. Because, man, like some of the people inside of this group, fuck, I've seen you around for years. I'm not going to lie. I've seen your shit for fucking years inside of the Facebook group here. And I'm looking and I'm like, well, I click on the profile and I go, what the fuck have you been doing for 3 years? Come on, man. Oh, come on, girl. And I say that with love because I go, it is hard. And now you understand how hard it is because I did the same shit when these people were doing shit. And now look at the results. Look at where we are. Look at what we've built versus the mindset of people thinking that this is going to come easy. And it doesn't. And people just stay stuck. I'm going to wrap up there. That got me a little fiery. But anyway, that's it, K-Bod. I think that's, they know more than enough about our Instagram and yours now. We'll expose you to the world.
Look, it's not easy. And that level of communication for us is built over 4 years. And all of the mistakes that we learn, we want to share that with you guys to not make the same mistakes.
Yeah, you can save yourself from so many fights. So many fights, so many unhappy nights, so many tears, right, Keri? Liters of tears on Keri. I can't believe how much you can cry. Heartache, but you need to experience your own pain because then you find the gifts in them. And I can give you advice and you'll want to tiptoe. And then I want you to make mistakes, because that's what built me. My mistakes and my mistakes in the future is what's going to keep building me. And here's the thing: don't be afraid to make mistakes. Like, if you fucking go online, amazing. I'm happy for you. Go fucking all in. Figure it out. Get hurt. Get burnt. Be burnt out. Like, trust me. It was a Grant Cardone thing that we watched, Be Burnt Out. And Grant Cardone says, "You're not a fucking candle." And which I agree. And so many people are so afraid to get burnt out. They go, "Oh my God, I'm burnt out." It's like, yeah, you're going to get burnt out. Awesome. And then you're going to recover and then you're going to do it again. All right, good for you. I'm just really hard. Keri's a softie. So she won't get to that.
Are you sure?
No, she's not. She looks like a softie, but she's a hard ass on the inside. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up there. I think that gives you a bit of an insight into whether or not an online business is for you. It is, trust me, there's a lot of pros, but I just want to make sure that everybody realizes the cons, because in marketing, in this world where everyone promotes shit on Facebook, Instagram, I've got my Lamborghini, I've got my plane, I've got my beach house, people don't talk about the shit. And if you think that you can build muscles without going through pain, if you think you can win the Olympics without putting in a fucking 100 years of work, it just doesn't work that way. I wish it kind of did, but I'm glad it doesn't, because it means nobody else will get to the end because they don't think this way. And the cream rises to the top.
Speaking of the cream, so I know that yesterday, so today's episode was talking about your mistakes and how to get good, how to go from good to great, how to go from average to expert. Yes, so I will promise the audience that tomorrow's session will talk about that. And we're going to talk about your investments. We're going to talk about what they need to invest in. We're going to talk about how to become an expert, because we talk about this, be known for something, get them a result, be an expert, and let's talk about that.
I'll go into that. Cool. Can I just add one thing just before we wrap up, just because you triggered this thought in my mind? Like, if you have no money and you are broke as fuck right now, go and get money, like go and work and drive Uber, go and do more PT sessions in the gym, go and fucking read or learn something off YouTube and then grind it out. This is the biggest lesson that I can give to you right now that's on top of my mind. Don't invest in something hoping that it's going to save you, because you already go inside of that mindset of being saved. You go, I don't have any money and I'll take out a credit card because this is going to solve my fucking problem. It's not. And I see so many people taking out credit cards, being dead fucking broke, not having money, not because they don't have money, but because they don't have the fucking grit and the mindset and the hustle to make some money, to get into a position, to figure some shit out first, and then get the mentor to scale that shit up. Most people that are broke borrow money hoping that this magic thing's going to happen, and it doesn't. You need to have, if you're broke, if you've got no money, I think that's at least a good half of anybody listening to this. Like, I do want to help you, but I can't, because you're already coming in with that attitude where you haven't figured out the game yet. So I just wanted to add that in. And I'm sure we'll go through the mistakes tomorrow.
All right, let's do it.
All right, K-Bod, we are off. Thanks for tuning in, peeps, and we'll see you again shortly.
Yesterday